This rally is about raising attention to the issue of missing people, and today about Mackenzie, who is missing.
It's nice to see how many friends and family support us, but of course, like, someone is missing and it's our big sister, so it's kind of still a sad day.
In many of the missing persons cases that I review here on the channel, I can't help but have this nagging thought, if only they had their phone. But I guess it's more than that, because they need their phone, but in many cases I wish that their family had a tracking program on there so they could actually get to them quickly. Well, today's case is pretty different in that regard. Mackenzie's family had location tracking on her phone. So where is she? Why is someone that supposedly cared about her being evasive? It's time to turn on the searchlight. For Mackenzie Lee Trottier. Welcome back to Brain Scratch Searchlight. I'm John Lorden. Thank you so much for caring about these cases like I do. Mackenzie Lee Trottier was born to Paul and Gina Trottier on June 18th, 1998. And you may see some different years out there with some of the missing persons flyers. We've confirmed 1998 is the proper year. She's the eldest of three girls growing up in their home in Saskatoon. According to Wikipedia, Saskatoon is the largest city in the Canadian province of Saskatchewan. It's located along the Trans-Canada Yellowhead Highway and has served as the cultural and economic hub of central Saskatchewan since its founding back in 1882. 2021 census data shows a population of over 260,000 people, with Saskatoon being the largest city in the province. Saskatoon is actually named after the Saskatoon berry, which is native to the region. The city has a significant indigenous population and several urban reserves. There are 9 river crossings, and it's nicknamed Paris of the Prairies and Bridge City. Mackenzie's sisters, Sadie and Lauren, both agree that out of the 3 girls, Mackenzie has the best sense of humor. Even if no one else in the room thought she was funny, Mackenzie would laugh at her own jokes. Although she preferred to go by Kenzie to her family, she was known as simply Mac. Mac loves the outdoors, and her favorite place is her family's cabin. There, she would hike and enjoy nature. She has a big love for animals. She jokes with friends and family that she must have had 20 pets while growing up. She owned chameleons, snakes, rats, turtles, and a cat named Milo that she saved from abusive owners. She also had over 10 dogs, as she was prone to picking up strays. Quote, "If she ever saw a stray, she'd bring it to our house," Lauren remembers. Unfortunately, as Mac grew into being a young woman, she began to experience bullying. Her free spirit and caring attitude seemed to draw those bullies towards her. The situation became so bad that while she was in the 6th grade, she started attending therapy. Things were still difficult for Mac during high school, but she found her pockets of happiness. She took up the guitar. She loves to sing while she plays, and her father says that he looks forward to her coming home so that they can sing together again. High school offered another opportunity for Mackenzie to sing, this time in the choir, and she jumped at that chance. The bullying, unfortunately, continued, and her family noticed that her behavior was becoming self-destructive. In the 11th grade, Mackenzie shunned her school friends and began hanging out with a crowd much older than her. By the 12th grade, she had dropped out of school completely, and she was hanging out with this new set of friends. Her parents became concerned about not only the people that she was with, but the drugs that she might be doing with them. Hoping to turn his daughter back to a safer path in life, her father, Paul, contacted Mackenzie's high school best friend in the hopes that if the two started to talk again, she might be drawn away from that bad crowd. The young woman reached out to her old friend, and even though they began to talk and even see each other occasionally, Mackenzie still fell deeper and deeper into her new life. Despite their best efforts, for the next few years, her family saw little of Mac as she was struggling with addiction. Every time her family talked her into coming home and going to a rehab, within a month, she would relapse and fall back into those old habits. She came home only occasionally, and she was often living with different friends, couch surfing. In 2020, she was still seeing her family sporadically, though a little bit more often than previously. She had been living with a man known to some as her boyfriend, but we'll be addressing him here as her partner, since her parents are reluctant to use the term boyfriend. Many times she would call her father late at night so he could come and pick her up from an alley or some side street because she ran away from her partner's house. She was afraid of him, and her family had seen what they deemed as signs of abuse many times. That December, Mac was again living at home with her family. Her father had picked her belongings up from her partner's house. Again, everyone convinced Mackenzie to go back to rehab and try it again. This time, they said that she seemed hopeful and ready to turn over a new leaf. It was a very cold day on the 21st of December, with temperatures never rising above freezing. 22-year-old Mackenzie was staying at her parents' house in Saskatoon's College Park East neighborhood. At 1 p.m., she asked one of her sisters if she wanted to accompany her to the mall. Her sister declined, saying that she was tired and she still had to study. Moments later, her mother, Gina, heard her come up the stairs to the second story. When her mother walked out of her office, she found that Mac had a coat in her arms. Gina asked where she was going and when she would be back. Mac answered that she'd be back later that night. Worried about what her daughter might be up to, Gina asked her if she needed a ride to wherever she was going, but Mackenzie said no, that she had a ride share. At 1:15 p.m., she walked out of her family home. Still worried about where her daughter was going, her mother used Apple's Find Friends feature to check in on her. As she feared, Mac went straight back to the house and the man that her family had just recently saved her from. At this point, Mac had been rescued from bad situations on many occasions. Her parents knew that as an adult, she could make her own decisions. So they left her where she was and they waited to hear from her. Her mother sent text messages that went on with no reply. This wasn't unusual for Mackenzie, though. When Mackenzie felt that her mother was badgering or annoying her, she would often ignore calls and texts. Mac wasn't necessarily upset when she left, and her family knew that no matter what, she would never miss Christmas back at home with the family, and that was coming up in just a few days. By the 23rd, they were concerned that none of their calls or texts were being answered. Even if she was annoyed, Mackenzie would usually eventually respond. On the 24th, Gina looked again at Find Friends, but this time noticed that on that day, Mackenzie's data usage was very low compared to her usual numbers. Then, after 3:50 p.m., all usage on her phone stopped. When she didn't return to the family home on Christmas Day, her father began searching for her in the north area of Idlewild Drive, which is about a 10-minute drive away from their home, and it's in the area of where Mackenzie's partner lives. No one involved the police at this point. They were still confident that they were going to be able to track her down. Her father drove the streets that she was known to frequent and stopped time after time at the house that Mac and her on-again, off-again partner lived at. When he finally answered the door, the partner acted as though nothing was wrong, spoke somewhat evasively, and said that he just hadn't seen Mackenzie since December 24th. The investigation found that on December 26th, Mackenzie's debit card was used at a 7-Eleven convenience store near Idlewild Drive North. CCTV footage shows a white male who stands at about 5'3" tall using her card. When watching this footage, I immediately locked onto that logo on the back of his jacket. Wilderness Roofing is a roofing company in Saskatoon, and I'm sure those jackets are not all too common. Maybe a former employee or a friend of one. Of course, perhaps it was picked up in a thrift store. In any case, it seems that this lead hasn't quite panned out. Despite news agencies running this footage along with flyers showing his sketch and social media posts about all this, the identity of this man and his connection to Mackenzie are still unknown. On December 30th, her family finally reported her missing to the police. According to the Paramount Network show Never Seen Again, her family was very open and honest with investigators, and they shared about Mackenzie's history of drug abuse, as well as the fact that she had been working as an escort in the months leading up to her disappearance. Their claims were investigated, and it was confirmed that she was indeed working as an escort, but it's reported that they only found that she was working for herself. There was no known connections to that work. Is the man that used her debit card someone that maybe she met through that line of work? I don't know. Mackenzie's partner was questioned. He gave investigators the same story that he gave Paul. However, he did allow a search of his home and property. At that time, no signs of Mackenzie were found, but he is still considered a person of interest. Knowing that she was working as an escort has me wondering both about this relationship between the partner and her, and the possibility of human trafficking being a factor in this case. In January of 2021, the Saskatoon Police Service issued a media release asking the public's help to locate Mackenzie, stating that they're concerned that she may be in a vulnerable state. Since that time, there's been really little movement on this case. On the one-year anniversary of her disappearance, family and friends held a rally to keep her in the public's mind, and it seemed to initially work. Someone reported seeing Mackenzie with a man in Calgary, Alberta. However, when it was looked into, it was found that that woman was not Mackenzie. The Trottiers enlisted the help of electronic billboards. 34 digital boards across Canada showed Mackenzie's face and information, bringing more new leads in for review, but still not bringing the answers her family is looking for. In May of 2021, the Saskatoon community, along with other agencies across Canada, came together to help the Trottier family with their search, raising $20,000 that's being used as a reward for information leading to Mackenzie's return. The only seemingly solid piece of information that's been found turned up in June of 2021. A pedestrian was walking adjacent to an off-ramp when he came across a piece of identification that was traced back to Mackenzie. Investigators believe it was thrown from a car as they merged onto the freeway. No information was given as to which freeway it was found at or what exactly the identification was. Could have been an ID card, maybe it was another payment card of some kind, but it traced back to her. At the 2-year mark, law enforcement gave some cryptic comments about the investigation and their thoughts on it.
There's been numerous tips that have come in and a lot of work gone into tracking down those tips or checking out those tips. Some of them got our hopes up, but unfortunately, all of them to date have not panned out. Mackenzie's case is one that we're obviously spent a lot of time on and will continue to spend a lot of time on. We are of the opinion that there is some people out there that know more than they're telling us.
Even though Mac's family stays in close contact with Saskatoon police, there have been no new developments in their search. While the family works constantly to spread awareness of their daughter's case, they also try to help others. Paul spoke in 2022 about some of the issues that surround missing and murdered Indigenous women, specifically in Canada. He wants everyone to remember that no matter who the person is or what their walk of life, they are people, just like the rest of us. They have families that love them, and each of those missing persons cases deserves attention. The Christmas holiday is particularly tough on this family. In 2022, Gina found a way to celebrate Mac by helping others close to her. She coordinated an effort with local shelters to distribute gifts of socks, hand warmers, whatever could be used in cold weather to basically help the local homeless population. The family also says that they feel very fortunate to have the help offered to them by the general public, whether a person is actively helping them in the search or just sending them a note to let them know that they're being thought of. The family appreciates it. Paul told the media, quote, "It's like missing a piece of your body. So you hobble around in some regards and do the best you can, but you're still missing that piece of your family, that piece of you. Mackenzie Lee Trottier stands at about 5 feet tall and weighs around 145 pounds. Her hair is blonde, cut at medium length, and is shaved on the right side. She has green eyes, and her lip is pierced. Her front teeth are broken, and she has a tattoo on her right ankle. I could find no description or pictures of the tattoo, unfortunately. She usually wears heavy makeup, black yoga pants, a heavy green jacket, and carries a large purse. Please share this video with friends and acquaintances in Canada, especially in Saskatoon and the surrounding areas, to help us keep this awareness raised. If you want to support the family, there's a link below to their Facebook page that provides updates as well as occasional fundraising events. Please click that link and give them a follow. If you happen to have any information in the disappearance of Mackenzie Lee Trottier, please pick up the phone and contact the Saskatoon Police Service, or SPS, at 306-975-8300. If you need to remain anonymous for any reason, you can also call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. And remember, there's still that $20,000 reward waiting for the person that has information leading to Mackenzie's return. Since 2015, we've always run limited commercial ads for the benefit of you, the viewers, and the families that we're trying to help. Obviously, we can't do that without support. A big thank you to PayPal supporters Jennifer Wilson and Larissa Mertschink. If you'd like to help, please visit LordanArts.com. There you could sign up for Patreon, sign up for PayPal, buy merchandise, or even just buy us a coffee, like Susie and Cassia recently did. We really appreciate your support on our mission to run as few ads as possible, keep you focused on the case, and help as many of these cases as we can. Thank you, Wikipedia, sasktoday.ca, thestarphoenix.com, cbc.ca, ctvnews.ca, timeanddate.com, storiesoftheunsolved.com, the Paramount television show Never Seen Again, and globalnews.ca for information contributing to today's case. Also, a big personal thank you from me to everyone there that is supporting this family with this tough situation. It is not easy on any of them, and they need all the support they can get. And I just want to thank you guys that are close to the case, stepping in and doing that. Let's keep those eyes, ears, and hearts open and looking for Mackenzie Lee Trottier. I'll see you again here soon on the LordanArts channel.